Did you know that according to decades of records and observations, most people over the age of 75 pass away from a cause that could have been prevented with small daily changes? It's not a rare disease or something beyond our control. We're talking about a silent deterioration accumulated over time that corrodes the vitality of the body and mind without fanfare. Edgar Cayce, known for his health readings, already pointed out clear signs about this in his accounts. The most striking thing isn't the number of deaths, but how much of it could be avoided with awareness and attention to 6 key points. This video isn't about fear, but about enlightenment. Knowing this can transform the way you live your next years with more independence, clarity, and energy. And it all starts with understanding what's behind this alarming statistic that affects almost everyone over 75. Cayce said that most chronic diseases in old age don't stem from aging itself, but from habits accumulated and ignored for decades. To him, the body is a reflection of the inner balance between emotions, diet, circulation, and movement. The root of frailty, according to him, begins when we stop moving, not just physically, but in will, purpose, and connection with life. When these elements fade, the body starts to shut down as well. This silent failure usually begins in the intestines, the circulatory system, and the nerves. And before you think this is inevitable, know that Cayce left clear guidance on how to reverse this process. If this message is making sense so far, please like this video and subscribe. It helps us continue bringing valuable reflections like this to you and to others who need to hear it. The first factor that Cayce pointed to as a cause of premature death was intestinal stagnation. He stated that the proper functioning of the intestines was central to human health, and that frequent constipation led to self-intoxication. This means that the body begins to reabsorb toxic substances that should be eliminated. Over the years, this overloads the liver, kidneys, brain, and heart, leading to a slow and progressive collapse. He recommended paying special attention to a diet rich in natural fiber, using vegetable oils, and maintaining a daily routine that included hydration and moderate exercise. The second factor was poor circulation, which Cayce saw as a reflection of a life without movement. When blood doesn't circulate well, nutrients don't arrive, organs age faster, and toxins don't leave. For him, light walking, alternating hot and cold baths, and regular massages were simple but powerful measures against this ailment. The third point that Cayce emphasized was poor oxygenation of the brain, usually caused by short and shallow breathing, common in people who spend long periods sitting or immobile. Lack of oxygen compromises mental clarity, emotional balance, and, in the long run, contributes to neurological degeneration. He suggested simple practices such as breathing deeply upon waking and before sleeping, and taking conscious breaks during the day to oxygenate the body. The fourth factor was toxic overload in the liver. Cayce stated that the liver is the great purifier of the blood, but when it's overloaded, it loses its ability to eliminate waste properly. This generates chronic fatigue, mental confusion, and accelerates the aging of tissues. According to him, bitter foods such as green leaves and specific roots helped keep the liver active in addition to light fasts, guided responsibly, as a form of periodic organic rest. The fifth factor is emotional. Cayce spoke of the loss of meaning as one of the most lethal causes after the age of 75. When a person disconnects from purposes, affectionate bonds, and everyday goals, the body responds with a loss of vitality. This isn't symbolic, it's physiological. Hormones linked to well-being and immunity decrease, and this weakens the internal organs. Life without meaning weakens the nervous system and the heart. Therefore, he recommended that elderly people remain mentally active, involved with something they love, and surrounded by human interaction, however simple. Contact, laughter, exchange. All of this, said Cayce, is invisible medicine. He saw loneliness as a slow and stealthy poison, and he reinforced that it's not too late to reconnect to something greater, even if it's a small gesture each day. Finally, the sixth factor is related to excessive and untimely eating. Cayce believed that the digestive system has rhythms, and that ignoring these cycles impairs the absorption of nutrients and overloads the body. Eating late at night in large quantities or with inappropriate combinations, according to him, generates internal fermentations that affect the brain, heart, and kidneys. The secret isn't in strict diets, but in balance and awareness. He advised light meals at night, with sufficient intervals between them. Healthy digestion for Cayce was an essential pillar for maintaining clarity, energy, and disposition even in old age. These 6 factors intertwine. One interferes with the other, and that's where the power of prevention lies. By adjusting small daily habits, a person can avoid a decline that, for many, still seems inevitable. Cayce reinforced that the human body was created to last much longer than people imagine. For him, old age shouldn't be synonymous with decay, but with wisdom and balance. The problem is that, throughout life, we accumulate simple mistakes that, through repetition, become destructive patterns. And when we reach old age, we reap the fruits of what we planted, good or bad. But he always said that it was never too late to reverse a cycle. Even at 75, 80, or older, sincere and consistent changes in lifestyle could generate profound results. He saw the organism as something adaptable, which responds to attention and care with surprising speed. It's as if the body is waiting for that moment of reconciliation. And when that happens, improvements emerge in areas that many had already given up on, such as sleep, digestion, memory, and disposition. Another aspect that Cayce addressed was the impact of the mind on the body. He stated that what we think directly affects our physical health. Feelings like resentment, guilt, and constant pessimism create internal tensions that over time undermine the functioning of the organs. He said that a mind at peace, focused on the present and grateful for the small things, helped the body regenerate. This isn't an idea distant from current science, which increasingly recognizes the link between emotions and immunity. Cayce suggested daily practices of gratitude, simple prayers, or moments of silence as a way to harmonize thoughts and reduce anxiety. For him, emotional balance was as vital as the physical. By taking care of what goes on inside the mind, changes naturally arise in the body. And this, he said, was the true medicine of the future, starting in the present. Many were surprised by Cayce's recommendations because they were too simple, almost obvious. But it's precisely there that the depth of his thought lies. He believed that health came from the basics done well: regular sleep, balanced diet, healthy thoughts, daily movement, and good, affectionate bonds. No magical formulas or expensive treatments, just respect for the body and the nature of time. What kills at 75 isn't a single factor, but the sum of small negligences. Therefore, according to Cayce, prevention starts every day, with small decisions. And the sooner these choices are made, the smoother the following years will be. Still, even those who already feel the effects of time can improve. The body responds when it's heard. And the secret is in perceiving the signs before they become symptoms. Cayce also warned of the danger of ignoring recurring signs from the body, such as tiredness upon waking, slow digestion, frequent forgetfulness, or changes in intestinal rhythm. For him, these were silent requests for attention. Instead of masking them with immediate remedies, he suggested observing what had changed in the routine, sleep, or diet. By identifying the imbalance, it was possible to act on the cause, not just the symptom. He believed that the body speaks, and whoever learns to listen to it lives longer and better. This listening includes everything from the choice of foods to the type of thought that is cultivated. He saw aging as a natural process, but also as an opportunity for improvement. The goal wasn't to prolong life at any cost, but to make it lighter, more lucid, and more conscious. Living with quality after 75, according to him, was entirely possible. There's a famous passage in which Cayce says that a person's vitality is directly linked to how much they feel they can still contribute. This resonates strongly with what we see in elderly people who remain active, even with physical limitations. The feeling of usefulness, of being part of something, keeps the vital energy burning. Isolation, the feeling of being a burden or being forgotten, accelerates the deterioration process. Therefore, he encouraged everyone, regardless of age, to seek ways to remain integrated into social life, even in a simple way. A daily conversation, a light task, a personal project. He saw value in small actions as long as they were done with intention and presence. Life, according to Cayce, doesn't end when the body weakens, but when the spirit disconnects from the will to live. Another important point is that Cayce didn't see aging as a burden, but as a cycle with the potential for balance. He said that after decades of movement and effort, the body asks for slower rhythms, but not for abandonment. It's necessary to adapt the routine without falling into passivity. Small rituals such as caring for the garden, cooking mindfully, walking in the sun, or organizing memories in photos and letters are attitudes that nourish the soul and keep the body awake. He also pointed out that, at this stage of life, the diet should be lighter and more natural, with fewer artificial stimuli and more focus on fresh and living foods. These simple adjustments strengthen digestion, reduce inflammation, and improve sleep. Cayce saw the body as a temple in constant renewal, which adapts better when respected in its current phase, without comparisons to the past. Cayce also insisted that the environment where a person lives directly interferes with health. He wasn't just talking about the physical aspect, such as cleanliness or lighting, but about the emotional energy that circulates in the space. Environments charged with tension, frequent arguments, or a lack of affection silently make people sick. In contrast, a calm home with signs of care, soft sounds, natural light, and meaningful objects favors inner harmony. He encouraged the creation of a space where it was possible to breathe lightly. Even a chair near a window with a view of the sky or a garden made a difference. For him, this type of detail was more effective than any medicine because it acted directly on the soul. Cayce stated that by taking care of the external space, people feel more inclined to take care of the internal. And this creates a cycle of well-being that is reflected in physical health in a profound way. An interesting detail in Cayce's readings was the importance of touch. He considered physical touch as one of the greatest healing resources, especially in old age. Light massages, hand contact, hugs, and even brushing someone's hair. All of this activated the nervous system in a beneficial way. The body, according to him, needs to know that it's still alive, that it's still felt. This perception improves circulation, reduces pain, and strengthens the bond with the present moment. Cayce saw touch as a form of silent communication between bodies and hearts. He believed that the simple gesture of touching someone with respect and affection could restore strengths that medicines couldn't reach. And more importantly, touch doesn't need to be professional. It needs to be sincere, frequent, and full of presence. Thus it becomes therapeutic and vital. Another point rarely spoken about, but often addressed by Cayce, was foot health. For him, the feet reflected the general state of the body and required special attention. He recommended warm baths, massages, and even walking barefoot on natural surfaces such as grass or sand. According to Cayce, the feet are nerve and energy centers that help regulate internal functions, from balance to digestion. By stimulating the feet, we activate reflexes that improve overall health. In addition, foot care also improves mobility and reduces the risk of falls, one of the great dangers for those over 75. He always said that keeping the feet active was a simple and effective way to keep the entire body functioning. Small habits, practiced every day, create powerful results over time, and the feet, often forgotten, are a good starting point. Another constant teaching in Cayce's readings was about the importance of water. For him, mild yet chronic dehydration was a factor of profound wear and tear in old age. The body, as it ages, loses the natural sensation of thirst, and with that the intake of fluids becomes insufficient. He recommended water at room temperature, consumed little by little throughout the day, to keep the kidneys active, the blood fluid, and the skin healthy. In addition, Cayce indicated the use of baths with salts or natural oils to stimulate circulation and relax muscles. He saw water as a vehicle for internal and external purification. It cleanses the body but also renews the mind. The simple practice of starting the day with a glass of water was seen by him as a symbolic gesture of restart, of preparing the body to live another day with clarity. This attention to hydration, according to him, is one of the most neglected pillars of healthy longevity. Cayce also frequently addressed the topic of sleep. For him, sleep was a form of natural treatment that, when respected, helped the body self-regulate. He recommended sleeping early, with the environment silent and dark, and avoiding strong stimuli in the 2 hours before bed. He stated that deep sleep was the moment when the body regenerated the most. Problems such as insomnia or fragmented sleep, according to him, were almost always linked to poor digestion, nervous tension, or excess thoughts before sleeping. Therefore, he suggested a nightly routine with light foods, conscious breathing, and even serene readings to calm the mind. When sleep is restorative, the disposition in the morning changes completely. And for Cayce, the way you start the day influences all the following decisions. Therefore, sleeping well was, in his view, a daily investment in long-term health. In his readings, Cayce also advised on the importance of posture. He stated that the way a person positions themselves physically in life reflects the internal state. Hunched backs, drooping shoulders, and looking at the ground are signs of discouragement, both emotional and physiological. He recommended simple stretching and strengthening exercises for the spine, even while sitting, as a way to keep the nerve flow between brain and body active. When posture improves, breathing expands, digestion improves, and thinking becomes clearer. He believed that the body needed to be erected every day with intention, as a gesture of affirmation of its own presence in the world. It wasn't about aesthetics, but about vitality. Good posture was, for him, the clearest sign that the spirit was still willing to occupy that body with dignity and awareness. For Cayce, spirituality also played a central role in maintaining health after 75. But he wasn't talking about religion in a dogmatic way, but about inner connection. He believed that cultivating daily moments of silence, prayer, or meditation helped keep the nervous system balanced and the heart strengthened. This practice gave meaning to the days, even in moments of pain or fragility. He said that when the spirit is at peace, the body finds a more stable rhythm, and that many symptoms disappeared when the person resumed contact with something greater than themselves. This connection could come from faith, nature, art, or any practice that awakened serenity. For Cayce, spirituality was invisible food, and when neglected, it opened space for anxieties that slowly make people sick. Health, therefore, was always a reflection of three pillars: body, mind, and spirit in harmony. He also emphasized the importance of exposing oneself to the sun responsibly. According to Cayce, sunlight plays an essential role in activating vital processes, from the synthesis of vitamin D to the regulation of mood. He recommended at least a few minutes of sun per day, preferably in the morning, without excessive use of filters that prevented natural absorption. He saw sunlight as a form of living energy, capable of restoring spirits and rebalancing the body. In his reports, people who began to expose themselves regularly showed improvement in disposition, sleep, and even chronic pain. The secret was in consistency, not intensity. A little every day was better than a lot once in a while. And this daily exposure was also a symbolic way of maintaining the bond with life out there, with the present time, with the natural cycle of things. The sun, according to him, was a kind of body alarm clock. In his readings, Cayce reinforced something simple but powerful. The body wants to live. Even in the face of limitations, it fights silently to maintain internal functioning. When we offer minimal conditions of balance, light food, a calm mind, human bonds, daily movement, and good sleep habits, the body responds. It starts again. Cayce said that aging isn't synonymous with getting sick, but with changing the rhythm. And when this change is made consciously, the years gain another value. Contrary to what many think, 75 years don't mark the end of vitality, but can be the beginning of a more lucid and profound cycle. The secret is in realizing that each small daily adjustment, however simple it may seem, has a multiplying effect. And this, according to Cayce, is the true path of longevity with dignity, living with attention, simplicity, and intention. If there's a legacy left by Cayce, it's the idea that health doesn't depend exclusively on doctors or medicines, but on conscious daily choices. He didn't deny the importance of traditional medicine, but believed that much of the prevention and recovery came from personal responsibility. This includes listening to the body more attentively, respecting sleep cycles, keeping thoughts in order, and cultivating true human relationships. When an elderly person adopts these principles regularly, even in a simple way, the results are visible. More disposition, less pain, more mental clarity. Life after 75 can be not only bearable but meaningful, and for that it's necessary to do things differently. The question isn't just how much time one has, but how one wants to live that time. Cayce invites us to look inward, adjust roots, and remember that it's never too late to start taking care of oneself with more wisdom. This integrative view of Cayce remains current because it respects the human being in all its dimensions. He didn't divide the body from the mind, nor health from spirituality. For him, everything was connected. What we eat affects what we feel, and what we feel impacts the functioning of the body. By understanding this logic, we realize that taking care of health is a continuous act, which starts in the way we wake up, in what we choose to think, feel, and do throughout the day. Old age, in this context, ceases to be a phase of waiting and becomes a phase of cultivation. Every attitude counts. And even in the face of physical limitations, there's always something that can be done. Breathe consciously, walk slowly, talk to someone, take care of a plant, thank for another day. It's in this set of simple gestures that a long life is built with true purpose. If this content has brought important reflections for you, consider sharing it with someone who may benefit from these ideas. The right information at the right time can change the course of someone's life. And if you want to receive more content like this, subscribe to the channel and activate notifications. We don't promise miraculous formulas, just possible, practical, and human paths to a more conscious life after 75. As Cayce reminded us, there's no age to change the destiny of the body and mind. There's only the present moment, which is within reach now, and it's in it that lies the power to live with more dignity, clarity, and autonomy. Thank you for following along so far. May each choice from today be one more step towards your own renewal.